Yeah, if there's any foodies out there, I think Lima would be an excellent choice. There's a lot of very famous restaurants here.
Okay, so today we're heading down to Lima, Peru with my new amigo, John Rowan. John, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Thanks for doing the podcast, man. I really appreciate it. Tell
Yeah,
us,
no problem at all.
yeah, tell us a little bit about you. You've really led an interesting life. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, what you do, and how you landed in Peru, in Lima, Peru.
Sure. Well, I'm from a small town in the Midlands of Ireland. Um, Grew up there and became a teacher at around 25. So I shortly after I became a teacher in the UK, I moved further abroad, I should say, to El Salvador. After that, I went on to Colombia. Colombia was my longest place so far, so I had 5 years in Colombia. After that, I was in Czech Republic, and after that, Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Wow.
And after Argentina, I mean, I would have stayed in Argentina happily, but things went really bad with the economy while I was there. So I had to leave, and Lima was actually a really good option. When I started talking to the people here in Lima about the stuff that's available, it turned out to be a really good opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in Colombia, just quickly, where did you live in Colombia? What city?
Bogota,
Bogota. Okay. And then in San Salvador or El Salvador, you were in San Salvador?
I was in San Salvador more or less, yes.
Okay. And then Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Buenos Aires, correct.
Okay. And then what other Latin American country? Is that it?
That's it then, yeah. After Buenos Aires was Peru.
And now Lima. Wow, you have lived an amazing life. Those are some pretty extraordinary places, man. All right. So, John, you're a teacher, and so th I know that what you're a working professional overseas, and so they pretty much a lot of these organizations, these schools set up your visa. That's correct, right? You're on a work visa.
I'm on a work visa set up by the school. Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty simple. You probably don't have to do much at all. The school probably does it for you.
Usually, I just have to take a car journey and go to an office and sign some forms. And I usually don't really know what's happening. And often I have to renew every year or every 2 years, depending on what my contract looks like. But the process has been fairly the same for me in each country. And here was the same. I just signed a few forms.
Okay, cool. Well, let's jump in then to apartments. Everybody who's interested in moving to Peru or moving to Lima, they want to know what you can get a flat for. An apartment, what can you get a comfortable apartment for in the city center? What do they cost slightly outside the city center? What can you tell us on that?
Sure. Well, in the city, there's basically three districts that are places that you want to live. Okay. Anywhere outside of those three districts, you don't want to live there. It's going to be cheap, but it's going to also be potentially very dangerous. So within these three districts, there is some variation, but if you have a budget of $1,000 per month, you're going to get a very comfortable two-bedroom apartment in one of the best parts of the city.
Okay.
If you're on a tighter budget, I mean, you're still going to get somewhere decent for, 700 bucks per month.
Okay.
You're going to be able to find that. But you're going to want to be in a nicer area. If you are, then yeah, $1,000 is going to be a very good budget for your rent.
Okay. So you're looking at about, and so the low end, and this would be just a one bedroom, would be like 700.
Yeah, possibly. But again, it depends on distance as well. When I talk about the so-called more difficult areas, there's parts of them as well that are closer to here and are, you know, you could get something cheaper than 700 if you wanted.
Yeah. And that would be, would you have to move out of the city center? Are those numbers in the city center within those districts?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Okay.
I say the city center. The city center itself is old fashioned, and the actual city center is not where we are here. We're by the coast, um, down by the beach, but there's cliffs here, so there's not much of a beach. But we're beside the coast anyway, and all slithered along the coast here are the three areas where you really want to be.
All right, great. Okay, so then do any of these apartments, do they include utilities?
Uh, Often, yes. Often things like water might be included. Electricity is usually not.
Okay.
Internet can be as well. Not
Okay.
always though. Um, Depends. The different situations, but water is often included just because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
I think I pay my own water here, but I don't even notice what it is. It's like less than $10 per month.
Okay. Do you know what the electric is per month?
Yeah, it's about it fluctuates as well, but I mean it averages for me around 20 to 25.
And then how about Wi-Fi?
That's the same. That's around 25.
25. Okay. And then you have a cell plan over there?
I do, and that's about less than 20 per month.
Okay. So if you do the Wi-Fi, electric, water, you're looking at about $60
Not much, is it?
per month. Wow. Okay. Do you have any, do they use gas over there?
Um,
Is it
no,
no?
not really. We use the old-fashioned sort of gas cylinders. So yeah, we replace those every few months. Costs about $10, I think.
For the propane?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. And then let's jump in to groceries. People are interested in learning about what you spend per month on groceries and how expensive groceries are in Peru.
Yeah, quite cheap. Everything here is very cheap. So the variety of fruit and vegetables available is really outstanding here. They're very cheap as well.
How much would you budget per month, do you think, on groceries?
Like not a lot, not a lot because I'd probably be eating out quite a lot. But it's somewhere between the 100 to $200 mark, I'd say.
So 100 to 200, you'd say?
Yeah.
All right. So then you said you eat out a lot. So what type of food is served in the local neighborhoods, and how much do you pay for a meal in one of those local restaurants?
There's a really good sort of plan they have here that almost all the restaurants offer. They give you like a special menu just for lunch, and those ones you can get like a starter, main course, and a drink for. What's it? I'm doing the conversions in my head here. Hang on. Like somewhere around $4.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and it's really good quality as well. So
So what kind of food is it? Is it like the rice and
okay, so you can get a soup for a starter, or you might get salad for your starter. And for the main course, you'll have something like rice, chicken. They have a few interesting ways of doing it here. They have something called lomo saltado, which is uh, really delicious, and when it's well done, it's really nice. So yeah, I mean it's proper quality food as well in these
yeah.
really cheap restaurants.
For entertainment, and what do people do for fun there? I mean, for entertainment and getting out and immersing yourself in the offerings of Lima, what is there to do?
It's not a great city for entertainment, to be honest. A lot of people tend to leave to have fun. So there's lots of brilliant beaches nearby. You can be on the good beaches within 20 minutes, 30 minutes of Lima. A lot of people do that. A lot of people go up into the mountains as well. You have absolutely brilliant things like glacier lakes and mountain treks and all sorts of things. And again, they're all really close as well because as soon as you get out of Lima, you're immediately heading up the mountains and
Mhm.
into the Andes, and there's lots and lots to do there. Then, if you want to go a little bit further, you can go to the jungle, and to do that, you have to, of course, go over the Andes. And a lot of people do that as well. There's some great towns there. I know I'm talking a lot about not Lima, but this is the truth. Like it's for entertainment. A lot of people do tend to do stuff outside of Lima.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's great information because a lot of people aren't aware that a lot of people here, especially in the US, I think they think, Amazon and the jungle is connected to Brazil. Peru has a large Amazonian area. And
Absolutely.
I did spend some time in the Amazon in Peru in Iquitos and had an amazing experience, and I made the mistake of taking a bus to Cusco from Lima. What a mistake that was. And I'll tell you why, because every person on the bus got sick. Every person was vomiting on the bus. And they were all Peruvian people. There was only me and this other person from Australia, and then everybody else was Peruvian, and everybody was vomiting in these bags. And it took 22 hours from Lima to reach Cusco. And people don't
Yeah,
realize
there's
that.
easier ways.
And Soroche is that altitude. They call it the altitude sickness. So when you go up, you're going up and around and around and around all night long around those curbs up the Andes, and it's like everybody just got incredibly sick. I was so sick I couldn't even get off the floor of the bus. I had to lay down. I was so sick. It was terrible. And it took a couple days to just kind of reacclimate to Cusco and chewing on coca leaves just to it was a
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah,
experience, man. But it's like there is so much to do in that region of the world. I mean, Lima's a
yeah.
great area.
Just
Okay.
as you mentioned altitude sickness there, just a word on that is when I went to Cusco, I was pretty careful and I prepared properly and stuff like that, and I didn't suffer in any way. And I did the Inca Trail, and everything went perfectly. And then a few months later, I went to Lake Titicaca, which is
Yes.
only about 300 to 400 meters higher, and I suffered really badly from altitude sickness while I was there.
Yeah.
So just a word of warning.
Yeah, it's real, man. It is real. And if you're not doing your research and if you're not preparing, you're going to get it. So it's something to
Yeah.
really take note of when you're going to go check out Machu Picchu or, like you said, Lake Titicaca. It's something to really take note of. All right. So how do people, John, how do they get around in Lima? Do they have like rideshare programs? Is there a metro or public bus?
Uh, no metro,
Okay.
no trains, just basically buses. So
Okay.
a lot of people use the buses. If you're not using buses, people are using taxis, and the taxis are very cheap.
Okay.
Um, and it's sort of a cultural thing here. I don't know if it's because the sun is so strong and you can get burned being walking around, but people don't tend to walk places very often.
Wow.
That seems to be a Peruvian cultural thing that it's quite strange. Like
Mhm.
taxis tend to, if I'm walking on the street, taxis just tend to pull up beside me because they can't believe I'm walking, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Do they have like Uber or Uber Eats or any of the ride
Yeah,
shares?
yeah, they have quite a few of those that have popped up in the last few years. Uber is here, but there's loads of the ones that I suppose you could say are copying Uber or whatever, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of ones that are like Uber now.
All right, cool. All right. An expat community. Do you run into many expats living in Lima?
Yeah, quite a few, and there's plenty of options as well. So you can look for things like language exchanges on Facebook.
Okay.
There's a couple of bars that run them. Like maybe think it's a Thursday night in the Irish bar called Molly's, which is actually a great bar. That they run a language exchange. It's a great place. That's because when new expats come here, that's one of the first places they'll probably go.
They go. Okay.
So it's
It's
a
called
great place.
Molly's.
Molly's,
Okay.
correct.
Where are you seeing the expats are coming from mainly? Is
Um, a lot of people are here from the States.
they are.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
you surely get lots of people from other parts of South America, but I wouldn't probably notice the difference too much. So when I see foreign people here, yeah, there's some Europeans. I hear English accents from time to time, but um, it's mostly people from the United States.
Okay. All right, cool. So there is a community that people can connect with and not feel isolated if they move to Lima.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
definitely.
All
Yeah,
right,
there's
cool.
plenty of international schools and there's plenty of businesses and embassies and things like that around. So there's plenty of forum. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do for healthcare? So the retirees are always interested. What's the healthcare system like in Peru? Is it a quality healthcare program is it affordable?
Well, not knowing a lot about the American system, but from what I hear, it's quite expensive, especially if you don't have insurance. Here would be definitely cheap by comparison. And now all my healthcare is taken care of by the school, so I don't actually have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. But from what I know of other people, I know people that have come here from other countries to get dental work done, for example,
Mhm.
because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Um, so I wouldn't be able to tell you the prices of anything in particular, but I do know that it's attractive enough to get people coming from other countries.
Yeah, medical tourism has grown significantly for people from the US. There's tons of people that I think everybody knows somebody now that has left the country to get treatment in some capacity because it's just so much cheaper. It's so costly here in the US. So, is your income that you make in Peru, is it taxed? And do you know what percentage it's taxed at?
Interestingly, so I'm switching jobs right now. I'm moving from one school to another. My the school I'm leaving, I didn't pay any tax. Now I'm sure I did pay tax. I just didn't know about it. So the
Okay.
amount that they quoted me was the amount they were paying me. However, this new school is different. So I'm going to be paying tax. But the tax they've assured me is below 20% of the
Okay.
total.
Okay. All right. And that's an international school in Lima that you're working.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. All right. Well, John, I mean, that's all my questions that I have. Is there anything else that you can think of that we didn't discuss that could be helpful for the viewers?
Yeah, if there's any foodies out there, I think Lima would be an excellent choice. There's a lot of very famous restaurants here. One restaurant is called Central, and it's often voted number one restaurant in the world.
Wow.
These guys go up into the Andes and they go into like lakes and everything to get their ingredients. And it's one of these places where you get a full experience, you know.
Yeah.
And it's often voted number one in the world. There's another one called Maite, Mayte, and that's uh, really close as well. And it's also often voted, you know, top 10 in the world. And
Okay.
the level of food here in general is just that's the best thing about it. Um,
Hmm.
it's outstanding, and Peruvians really care about their food and they really care about how it's presented and everything. Every time there's a new restaurant, they're all really critical as well of the food because it has to be absolutely perfect, and it
Mhm.
often is. You know, especially to us who um, Irish cuisine is not exactly famous,
Mhm.
but coming here, this is just it's outstanding. It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah. That's cool, man. How about the any I know that in the jungle I participated in an ayahuasca experience. Do they do that
Yes,
do they do that in Lima or do typically people head out to the jungle to do it?
you can do it in Lima, but typically people go to the jungle
Go to
because
the
it's
jungle.
part of the experience, isn't it? To have be with the shaman and do all
It
that stuff.
is. Have you been to Iquitos?
I haven't been to Iquitos, no, but it's definitely on my list.
Yeah,
Iquitos
it's
is you can't get there by road, isn't that right?
no, it's only by boat or plane.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's surrounded by
really
water.
interesting.
So it's a really unique city in the Amazon. It's really extraordinary. It's a fun place to check out.
Yeah,
Well, well, John, that's all I have, man. I wanted to thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. I appreciate it.
no problem at all, and thank you. Thanks for having me.